Okay, are we recording?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, morning all. Thanks very much for attending on this gorgeous Sunday morning. Many apologies for dragging you towards your computers again. I'm sure you've had enough of this. Bit of housekeeping before we kick off. We will try and kick off bang on time. If I can introduce, obviously you all know Matt. Matt's hosting it, so he's going to admit all the people for me. So thank you for that, Matt. If I could ask you all if you could mute your laptops, so as or iPhones, whatever, just so as we've got it, that it doesn't interfere with what we're going through. And just basically what we're doing, guys, is I'll introduce myself. Obviously, those that don't know me, I'm head of the Herefordshire Cheltenham Development Centre. And obviously we're coming out of lockdown, so we're just going to give you an update on the plans going forward out of lockdown, and also going forward for 21-22 season, because there's just so much going on. What the plan of today is, I'll go through a bit of an itinerary so as that you guys can see what we're going to do. And then at the end, we can have a quick Q&A if we've got time. And if not, obviously you can contact us via the usual ways, social media, emails, texts, whichever. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a roadmap. I'm going to do the PDF schedules that come up on screen now, schedules, and show you what we're going to do starting back to coaching. We'll then talk about our KPIs as a development centre and what the academy have at the start of the season. Talking about the opportunities that come from doing what we do with players and staff all around. And I think the biggest thing for us as a whole was to try and develop that clear pathway from youth foundation football, under 8s, 9s, right through to men's football, because it's trying to come out of that under 18s as a lot of our boys are now. Well, where do we go then? They're suddenly become into the men's game, and have we got anything for that? So we're talking about an exciting new project which we're launching, and the men's football pyramid team going into the football pyramid. And again, the bottom one, creating opportunities for players and staff, because that comes around when you least expect it. Trust me on that one. Okay, so here's the schedules. I started, this is for March the 29th. Obviously, the first day we're allowed back after lockdown. Now, these schedules I will put out on your group chats, etc. Guys, we will upload this to our YouTube channel as well. But basically, they're the same as when we started this year back in June and July. So it's March, April, and May. We'll start back on the 29th. And we'll be in with the 14s and the 18s, 21s group on the Monday, Tuesday 11s, 9s and 10s on the Wednesday, and the Thursday be the 18s, 21s again. The JPL returning on the 10th of April with their league games. The MJPL is returning as well for the under 18s. For the 21s, theirs is the only league that's null and void because they're in that step 5 of the football pyramid. So what will happen with that? I've been in touch with a number of teams, and we're probably going to have a round robin games for the 21s to continue the rest of this season off, but also to plan for what we want to do going forward. And then that goes into then May and June, finishing off with the league ending on June the 5th. With the JPL, and June the 12th will be JPL finals. Well, hopefully some of our teams will be in, and then the season ends on June the 13th. That then gives us a week's grace before obviously the National Beer and Wine Festival Day on June the 20th. We come out of lockdown on June the 21st. We then, June the 22nd, all recover from our hangovers and probably go into another lockdown, number 18, and we'll probably have the TF65 route, etc. So that's the plan, and then we'll go straight into the new season. If I just touch on the KPIs, so we've all got an idea what we work to as a development centre, feeding on into the academy and their KPIs. So the KPIs, the key performance indicators for the academy. 1 professional contract per season. So from our academy system, can we get one through? Obviously, this year we've got Callum Ebanks, who signed a professional contract. An academy player sold every 3 seasons. Again, we got a couple of lads in that have gone through our program and have gone on to bigger and better things, which is what we're all about. You know, whether it's grassroots football, whether it's development centre to academies to greater academies. It's the circle that we all live in, no matter what level you play at. So it's great to start to get it into that. Whilst you always want to keep your best players, we also got to try and move them on. And that's why we put these key performance indicators in there. Under 18s players training with the first team at least once a week. We've had that. A minimum of 5 first team appearances starting from the bench to the academy. Which again, we've had the 5 players doing that. Grant Alton, a Hereford lad, came on again for the team midweek in a superb win away. The reserve games, we haven't achieved that because they haven't had, obviously due to COVID, we haven't had the reserve games, so that hasn't happened. And then the final one is to have at least one homegrown youth product in every leasing.com match in the squad. Now, the leasing.com is very much similar to, in the bigger scale of things, the Carabao Cup. So if you're a Tottenham fan, you can get to the final of that and you can sell memorabilia for just getting to the final, something really good like that. So it's on a similar scale.
Andrew, don't stole us.
Sorry, guys, I had to drop that in there. So if you do want to buy a keyring of a Carabao Cup finalist, you can get them at the Tottenham Club shop. But yeah, that's what the leasing.com and as a club, we use that to try and promote our academy players through. That's on the top left, you've got Felix Mars, obviously one of our under-18s, made his first team debut this season. You've got bottom right, you've got Callum Ebanks, who obviously made his got his pro contract this season. And in the middle, you've got George Lloyd, regular first team starter. Now, Lloydie was, when I was at Cheltenham the last time, he was an under 15, under 16 coming through, has gone on obviously in the 18s, and now he's a regular first team in, you know, in the team that's flying in the towards the top end of the League Two and hopefully going to get promotion this season. Then we set out our KPIs for a development centre, and our target is, you know, in a similar sort of style. So we want one player signed by the academy per season. We don't look to try and flood it and try and, you know, when we send players there, we want to send them there so they're in the top 6 or 7. I don't want to send a player there that's going to be out of a squad of 14 or 15, 14th or 15th and going to struggle and then come back. We try and send them so when they go there and we get one signed a season. At the moment, we got 6 currently trialing. Obviously, lockdown is stopping the 9s and 15s. They return on the 8th of March, but the 18s and the 16s, 18s have been in all the time and the 16s are currently in, and we've got 3 in that age group trialing at the moment, as well as others going in. So again, superb. 2 players per age group playing up an age group. So an under 9 playing in the 10s, an under 15s playing in the under 18s, and an under 17, 18 player playing for the 21s. And some of our under 14s as well, you know, 13-year-olds playing up into that. Increased development centre staff. This is a staff one. So at the start of the year, we had 35% A or B licensed coaches. We wanted to target that to get up to 50% with the support of Cheltenham. And we were achieving that. A lot of our lads were on B licensed assessments this morning. So well done on that, guys. And they will achieve their qualification at the end of it, will take us up to a 64%, which is way above where we want to be, which is terrific. Increasing our development centre from 6 ages to 8. Well, we're on target with that. We're actually looking at potentially 10 teams next season, which again is phenomenal and way above what we expected. But it's thanks to the great staff that we've got and the support of the club. We're also trying to introduce a BTEC college education program next season, starting with Hereford Sixth Form. And, you know, I don't like to announce things till they're signed, sealed and delivered, but that's more or less in the final stages of that. So we're delighted with that. And also, we try and create links with local clubs. We've got one in North Hereford that me and Daz are going to finalise on Tuesday. We've also got one then in the pipeline to start again. And the reason we're doing that is we want to grow the local clubs. If we grow the local clubs, it helps grow what we do. It helps grow what we do, gives greater opportunities to all of you out there, all the players and coaching staff and parents that want to get into coaching, etc. So it is a massive thing from all that point of view. And I've put this one in the Pyramid of Success. This is the great late John Wooden. I've read many of his books and listened to many of his seminars, etc., etc. And his Pyramid of Success, he was actually a basketball coach. And this is so true. And I just want to touch on this. And this is more so for the staff at the moment. I want to thank James Edmonds, who's been with us since we started this project. James was actually I was working away from outside of Herefordshire. Did my badges away and went and worked away. And I only come back to Hereford to help James with his Pegasus under 16s team some 8 or 9 years ago, whichever it was. And in fairness, James is going to follow his own route at the end of this season. He wants to, you know, he's been with me a long time and he wants to go down his own path. And again, we support that and we'll help him in any way, shape or form that we can. And with that, it brings opportunities for others. And that's how we try and look at it. I know when I first went into Cheltenham this season, after my first review with them, was about, well, who takes over when you're not there, Andy? And I'm like, but I am there. And they goes, yeah, but when you're not. And I'm like, but I'm going to be. Yeah, but what if not? What if we want to move you? What if you want to do something else? So it's about building those, putting those things in place. So we've got new coaches already coming in this season. They're hopefully on today, stepping into our younger age groups. Mark Whittle's stepping in. Alan Powell stepping in to help, Jason Thompson, all these guys coming into this success. And this is what we want to do. And so we've then decided the football pathway and the structure that we can see it right from the bottom right through. So we're looking at our under 9s, our foundation ages. So you've got our 9s, 10s, 11s and 12s going into our youth phase where we're going to have a 13s and 14s mixed team, and under 15s, which we've currently got under 14s, and an under 16s. We're going to have the college education team in place. We're still going to have our floodlit midweek team, and then we go into our men's football pyramid. Our step 8 is where we're entering. Now, just touch on the Midland Floodlit League. You'll notice I've put training once a week and a midweek match, which is different to this season, which has been twice. The reason that this is in place at the moment is that I noticed this season a lot of lads obviously doing their GCSEs, their A levels, their exams, etc. And it is incredibly challenging to continue to do what we do and put the pressure on you guys. So we've dropped that down to once a week, and also you got your midweek match. So that's something that will evolve as we go on, and that's more for the 18s and 21s. And then I touched on the football pyramid, and there we're entering it at step 8. And I will just come on to that in a little bit, but just, you know, going forward, these are flyers and adverts that we're putting out there that we're looking to recruit. And, you know, guys, as many as you can share and retweet on social media, etc., is brilliant, because we want to, whilst we want to keep challenging ourselves, you need to be refreshing and putting new players in, new coaches in. It challenges you all the time, and it's what you want. I've had it, you know, last season at Hereford, working under 3 different managers and delivering coaching sessions for each one was completely different, you know. So, for example, Russ Slater did a coaching session for him, and then when Josh Gowring came in, it different puts you under pressure, but that's when you thrive, and that's when we find out how good you are. So again, if we can share these as much as you can. Just on that one, sorry, I just went back there because the quote that is one that the Academy used, to have supplied 41 professionals over 20 years. That's a phenomenal rate. Like, if you go back to the KPIs, we say 1 player a season. Well, obviously, even with my maths, that, you know, is way above that, which again is fantastic. Obviously, I've got the 2 lads in there with Jason's approval, Tommy and Harry Jones, in the picture, looking great in their Cheltenham kit. Again, that's looking what we're trying to do. So we're looking to expand. We're looking at new teams at under 9s, under 13s and 14s. We'll probably throw a mixed age group there, and then an under 16s, which will be a new age group as well this season. So again, we're looking to share that as much as we can. So those are the opportunities that are going to be coming out there, guys, for all these ages, with players, coaches, you know, looking for players in these teams and coaches. And again, these guys, this is for anyone out there, you know, and it's, if a player's under 12 and you're thinking, oh, I'm not on that list, apply. We want to trial. We want to give all people opportunities, put our players under pressure, because that's when we know if they can thrive in it or not. If I go into the men's football pyramid team now, guys, this is now predominantly for the 18s, 21s, obviously, how we were going to do next season. So I wanted to put our 18s and 21s into a men's league. They've had a great season in the 21s, holding their own, got taught a couple of lessons, which we learned massively from. But in general, we were coping with it. And I just want that progression now to go into men's football. So we were looking at the football pyramid. Now, there's a connection with Cheltenham, GNFC, which is Generation Next Football Club. It's a chap, Ricky Santos, who's from Barbuda and Antigua. And we've had a number of meetings with him now over the last few weeks. But about 18 months ago, Antoine, who's also head of Cheltenham's Academy, but also head of the football operations for GNFC. We had a conversation about 18 months ago about me potentially getting back into semi-pro football, etc., as manager level. And we talked about this Generation Next wanting to put a team in men's football. So they're based in Barbuda, Antigua. They've got an academy out there. They send boys over to the UK, a bit like the Right to Dream project. And the reason I mention that is because obviously being Westfield's manager, we had a few of their players over that went to Hereford as well. So the GNFC, they've got an academy in Barbuda and Antigua, which, by the way, I think we all ought to go out there on a trip, paid by them, obviously. Then they've got an academy in Barcelona. They've also got one in Vancouver, and they've got links with pro clubs. So Ricky Santos, the owner and the founder of GNFC, is a big friends with the Coates family of Stoke City. So they're linked strongly with Stoke City and a number of other clubs in the UK, and they're hoping to set up an even greater link. So his objective was next season, he's putting a team in men's football as well. So we put the 2 heads together because there'll be things that I want, there'll be things that Ricky wants. Well, we need to make them connect to make one strong team rather than put two teams in a league. So this is where we've thrown our heads together, had a number of meetings, and we're going to enter the Cheltenham Association Football League, which is step 8 of the football pyramid. To give you an idea where that's at, this season our 21s and 18s have played Wellington and Lads Club, they're step 6. Westfield's a step 5, Hereford a step 2. Okay, so we should be okay in that quite comfortably. But again, this is now going to be an operation that is run that our 18s, 21s now have to get into it. It is about winning, and it's all about winning. So make no bones about that. So if you look at the setup and the structure we've got on the spreadsheet, you've got coaching sessions twice weekly with myself, Matt and Daz. Coaching venues, Pegasus, Hereford, and obviously my place, but also Hartbury as well. So as we're creating that link with Cheltenham still, which obviously we couldn't go in to the football pyramid as Cheltenham under 21s, because you can't have a professional EFL Cat 3 club having a team in the football pyramid below them. So we got a squad of 20 players, which will be selected from our current under 21s 18 squad. And also there'll be release scholars from the club because the club want to put players into it. And also, obviously, Ricky Santos wants to have a couple of lads from Antigua given a chance over in this country, which they've already got players playing at step 5 at the moment. So you go on to the match day staff then, and we've got Mike, obviously, who's, you know, I've known Mike for a number of years, worked with me at Cheltenham. He was first team ex-assistant manager over there. So he will carry on mentoring the staff on the match day, which is terrific for us. I've got Matt as the manager and Darren as the assistant. The reason I've put that in place, it will come to fruition later on, but we've looked at it, how it works and the structure that we're working, and we think this is our best way forward. Match day venue will still be at Cheltenham on a Saturday at their training ground. So for me, it's all about trying to build and create opportunities going forward. And that's why we've tried to put this in place. And this is the whole staffing procedure that we've been trying to put together to make us stronger together as a unit going forward. And obviously you've got the first team, that's the pinnacle where we've got to go, down to the bottom right where we start with our under 9s. And this is why we send our under 9s and our under 10s to Yate, because a lot of our boys in the 18s, 21s started at this age group and they didn't go to Yate. So they started under 11s, they started playing JPL football. So we're starting them younger so as they can thrive even greater, because we've got a lot of our lads that are under 18 that didn't do that are playing in our under 21s and on the fringe of it, that I think had they played at Yate at under 9s could be starting in that. But again, with the whole staffing structure on there. So whilst we're taking Daz with the men's team, we've also got him head of the phase of the 9s, 10s and 11s, so as that he can keep an overwatch of all of those age groups. And where this is great, guys, this isn't coming into fruition until the start of next season. Remember that. So no one's being taken from your age groups just yet, but we're putting things in place so as that we can all evolve and develop. So it just gives us that chance going forward. Again, this is just touching back on the Generation Next, the 18s, 21s men's team next year. So if you want to Google it, you can, you know, by all means go and Google Generation Next FC, Ricky Santos, he's the head of it. You've got Antoine, obviously, as the director of football, myself as the head coach, and Matt and Daz as the match day managers, because I will be tied up elsewhere on a Saturday, but I will be doing at least one of the sessions in the midweek training. But it just gives you an idea. Sorry, guys, my phone's going off. Schoolboy error. Okay, so for the 18s, 21s, what you need to do, obviously we're starting back on March the 29th, and we've got 32 boys into that age group, young men, sorry, I should say, in that collection. Okay, now to play into this men's team when it's all about winning, because I've said to Matt and Daz in amongst all the interviews and the Zooms that we've done over the past coming months, is that make no bones about it, if you don't do well, you get sacked. This is real football. So again, for our 18s, 21s, you'll be selected for this. This will be, we're hoping, a funded program. So the under 18 Midland Floodlit League will continue to pay, and as that has been this season, and that'll continue. So as we've got that gap filled and the bridge closer. But for the men's team, we're hoping this is going to be funded. Maybe a small fee, but we're hoping not, okay? Because the plans are that year 1, we get a men's team. Year 2, we get a men and a women's team. Year 3, we build an academy throughout that structure as well. So if you want to be considered in that team, and we'll put this on the group chat, Matt or Daz will put this on the 18s, 21s group chat if you're interested in what we're doing next season, because we need to plan. We've got a lot of players that are interested in this model that we're doing, but obviously we want to try and give opportunities where we can to players that have been with us before. But again, And this is where it's harsh, and this is reality. You've now got to be good enough. So it's not a case of, well, we got a squad of 15, I need to give him minutes. No, because if Daz rings me up on a Saturday evening when I'm on my way home from a game, and or Matt does and says, well, we lost 3-1, we played okay, our football was really nice, but we lost 3-1, and that's the 4th week running they've done that, suddenly winning matters. And this is why we're trying to get into it, that at 18s we're not quite there. Winning does matter, because this is where I'm delighted for the under 18s currently, that their league is continuing, because, you know, they are in with a chance of winning it. So it's starting to get that mentality that it is all about winning. So on that, guys, I do need to let me know what your thoughts and plans are for next season, whatever they are. And finally, just finishing off, because I know we're down to the last few minutes, so we won't get a Q&A in today, but creating opportunities, that's what we're trying to do. And it's normally when you least expect them. It really, really is. And this is where, you know, for myself as well, this came about now in the last few weeks. Obviously, Tim Harris got appointed as the Worcester manager. That was actually Tim that rang me then, back in January. Now, Tim contacted me in January and said he'd like me to go along as his assistant, as first team head coach. And whilst I was extremely flattered, and, you know, great opportunity, the size of Worcester, 3 times as big as Hereford sort of size in the county. To me, it had to work with what I was doing, because I'm trying to build something new for longevity. We've had it running, you know, we were West Brom, we started, we then went to the JPL as a regional talent centre, they went to Hereford. We've had more clubs than poor old Tiger Woods. But what I'm trying to say is it was all getting better and better. And this is why we want to keep doing it now. And so I spoke with Worcester about this and was very flattered. I spoke with Cheltenham. Cheltenham were very much on board with it. And as I said at the start of this, Cheltenham have always been this progressive club in terms of they're decent people to work for. They genuinely are. And, you know, when I mentioned this to them, I thought they're going to say, well, if you do that, you can't do art, blah, blah, blah. They were like, no, well, how can we make this work? This goes back to the 6-week review I had when I started with them. Who's in place to step up? This is where Matt, Daz, Lloydie, Kirk, all up senior coaches that have been with me a long time, how can they step up and do it? And that's where we took all these into consideration. And so Worcester obviously wanted me to do it. Cheltenham were happy with it. I then obviously spoke with my family, because obviously taking on more roles, it's going to be massive. But then I looked at it and thought, well, how can my centre benefit from this? Well, I see it that actually Cheltenham saw it that we're going to have a head coach in at Worcester City, step 5. They've got one at Evesham, step 4. So actually, how can our boys benefit? Well, Cheltenham can benefit because they can send players on loan to there. Worcester, the size that they are. And, you know, Tim and I are under no illusion that if we don't get success, we'll be sacked, because it's a big fan-based club. They have 400 or 500 home supporters, so it will be under pressure. But I also look at it, well, to grow my centre, Matt and Daz will have that opportunity now being pushed on. Lloydie, Kirk, all the coaches below will have that opportunity. Players playing for the 21s that have been doing well, that opportunity now, because we've got a foot in the door with the step 5 club as well as a step 8. So look at it as a big challenge going forward. And that's how I look at this personally. So went back to Worcester, and we've managed to work it with Cheltenham that it can work in place. Hence why I'll do 1 session a week with our GNFC boys. I will then also do the Worcester and manage them on the Saturday with Tim, whilst Matt and Daz does our men's team, and the rest will continue to evolve. So again, opportunities that are coming out there, whilst there's just so many and it's crazy. It's great for what we're doing, because to me, it says what we're doing is the right thing. And the right thing 9 times out of 10 is great. And it makes us all feel better, especially with coming out of, you know, trying to take a positive out of this national pandemic. And it's hard to, and I know a lot of people have been affected by it, and some more so than most. And we've obviously had it with Nat in our under 18s. So, you know, I know it's incredibly difficult, but you've always got to try and find a positive. As the legend Sir Tom Moore said, tomorrow's going to be a good day. And let's make today a good day as well, because, you know, you look at it, it's helped. COVID has helped us plan all this going forward, because this has taken hours and hours to put together, to plan and go forward. And it's exciting. It really, really is exciting for everyone involved. But it's challenging. It's challenging for all the boys in their age groups, because suddenly they've got to step up and do more, deliver more. The coaches below have to step up and do more. Players, you've got to step up. 18s and 21s. You know, we've got we call it at Worcester now this season. Tim has said, like, we've got a honeymoon period because the league is null and void. We've also got training and friendlies to play now when we start back. Similar to the 21s, 18's got a league campaign to finish. And this is where Matt and Daz will be looking at that with a close eye, closer than normal, you know, about it. And, you know, last season, Kirk come to some of the games, Lloydie come to some of the 21s games. And this is what we want. This is what we want to do to evolve it. But I think that's given you a general overall, guys, on where we are going forward. I don't think there's no other slides. Let me come off that and go back into stop the share. Can I stop the share? Yeah. Okay, cool. That close. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's how it majority of it is, guys. We're at the end of it. Well done to all of you. I do just want to see, he's just popped up on the screen. So I do want to just say to the skipper of the 21s, Charlie, morning, mate.
Right, just
Yeah,
unmute
good,
myself.
mate. Congratulations on doing your, whereabouts are you now on all this miles that you've done, mate? Where are you at to?
93, got 7 to go today now.
Fantastic, mate. So again, to me, this is again involves what we're trying to do, and a massive positive thing, mate. Well done to you for doing it. And I know a lot of people have supported it and etc. So thank you to everyone that has done, because it's things like this that we do need, and we do need each other, and we do need to keep doing it together. And I think that's where we're trying to evolve. And even like I said, halfway through again, James moving on, Edmonds, it's about we're a unit, we stay together, we do things together. A bit like when I'm coaching, I always say when we're shuffling across, stay together, arrive together, go together. Those sorts of things is like us as a unit as well, because we do need it at this time as well, that we are there for everyone. So guys, thank you all for your time. I know we're down to 3 minutes, so any questions or answers, I'll do the answers one, probably. Any questions or anything, guys, email them in. I'm sure the group chats will go crazy, which is great. That's what we want. The more interaction on them, the better. So please feel free to bang them out there. Any questions, we'll get them answered as honestly and as best we can, and tell us of any thoughts or anything. And like I said, keep sharing away with the social media tweets and that, because we want to keep growing and evolving what we do. We will probably have another Zoom before we come back on March the 29th, which will be here quicker than we think, guys. But thank you for your time this morning, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Andy.